And welcome back. Our shot from the Goodyear blimp as you take a look at the parade. All right, we're back now. There you go. A shot of the Cavaliers Victory Parade going down. We believe that's 9th Avenue right there. Russ Mitchell along with Sarah Shookman and Jimmy Donovan. And it's LeBron's car right there. LeBron, and we saw a money shot a moment ago. LeBron standing up in the car with that stogie in his mouth with hands up in the air and the crowd all around him. Sarah,
his arms lifted in that same pose that he has on the banner that Sherwin-Williams put up that has become a rallying place for so many Cavalier fans. You know, we were wondering as we watched the feed here why things got stopped. You can see there were a lot of people in the street huddling around that Rolls-Royce convertible that the James family is riding in. Well, I've researched now, and on Twitter, I can tell you that Swish, J.R. Smith, jumped out of his convertible right in front of LeBron in this parade and was giving high fives, was out amongst the Cavalier fans. And, of course, he does not have his shirt on today in true JR form. So fans are just having a great time with him. He's really become one with everyone, and it kind of held up the cars a bit as JR was out walking around.
He is not the only one shirtless. Iman Shumpert. What a moment, huh? Holding up his little baby boy.
Little baby girl. Junie.
Yeah.
That he delivered.
Right. How about that? So that was really something. You're right. That shot of LeBron with those incredible shoulders that he has. I mean, his physique, and it just looks as though he has the whole town, and he does, basically, in the palm of his hands. I mean, he really does. But I think he's really enjoying this. I mean, he's really soaking it in.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what he imagined.
He looks like he is having so much fun. You didn't know when you watched the parade today. Not only would you get to see these fine pictures, you probably knew that. Didn't know you'd get a fashion report as well from Sarah Shookman and Jimmy Donovan.
I've been watching to see what everybody is wearing or not wearing with all of these shirts in a lot of the case. LeBron's got his Nike Air shirt on, and there we go. We've got some video of Mo Williams, also shirtless, out walking around, shaking hands. This is really fun,
I guess their stylist was on vacation today or something.
Well, I mean, second tour of duty for him. I mean, he was here before and left from the Cavaliers, and he left after LeBron left when Mo went on his way. A couple of stops came back this year, and by the end of the championship series, there he was. What's he doing there? Social media.
He's taking a selfie with the crowd behind him, and he's got the big stogie going too. You can tell it's quite a celebratory mood.
It really is.
Cigars all around.
It really is. Now, it kind of give you a timetable of what we know right now, and the parade started about 35, 40 minutes late. The original plan was for the program here at Mall B to begin about 1:30. That's when the players would get up and speak. That's when the trophy would be hoisted once again. We'd hear from the mayor and other dignitaries. Going to guess right now, we have no official word on that's running a little late. However, it will happen at some point. This crowd has been here since, some of them all night long, awaiting this moment. So they've been very patient, very, very popular group here, very popular time, very popular place to be, I should say, here at Mall B with all this stuff going on as we continue to look at the parade there. Can you make out who that is right now?
Well, it is J.R. Smith, and those are his game shorts that he has on, okay? I mean, so it's almost like he's ready to go out to the Cleveland Clinic courts out there in Independence and take in a little workout after the parade is over. That's great, though, that they're getting out and mingling with the crowd. I mean, it really is. You can tell that they were very, very excited to come back and see what their fans were going to do for them, and, boy, their fans have not let them down.
Nice rides, too. You said that. Is this Kevin Love in the rolls?
Kevin Love with the wrestling belt, the wrestling championship belt.
I've seen some close-up photos of that wrestling belt, and it is actually a custom belt that they built for the Cavaliers in the WWE fashion, but it's got some really awesome emblems of the Cavaliers C on the sides, and it's the same belt that Kevin Love was carrying off the plane on Monday when they landed at Hopkins to that crowd of 20,000 or some of you. Now 800,000 or so Cavalier fans out here celebrating in downtown Cleveland today.
Now, the next thing that they'll all be, never mind the belts, okay, the next thing they'll be dying to see and probably be a part of the designing of their championship rings. And that will be something to see, too. Now, those normally get presented to them on the opening night next season, and they'll get their rings, and obviously then they'll hoist the World Championship banner, which will be a great night up ahead. So that will be the next part of jewelry and that's of course what they all desperately want is that ring.
Seeking
nice
those rings.
Is that going to be? Now, let me ask you, Jimmy. Now, who gets a ring? Obviously, the players. When it comes to the organization, who all will take home that kind of hard work?
Typically, the way it goes, Russ, and it's up to the owner. The owner and how widespread they want to go. But usually, everybody in the organization. Everybody in the organization, PR, marketing, sales, things like that, they'll all usually be gifted with a ring. It might not be the actual player's ring, but along the same design. The player's ring is going to be, usually unbelievable. Sometimes they branch out. Their broadcast team typically sometimes is gifted with a ring. The Golden State Warriors broadcast team last year, they were given rings. There are times then that they may go to, very special members of the alumni who maybe did not win a ring during their time with the team, and they'll go back and they'll present them with a ring too. So it is really up to the owner. This owner obviously does not mind spending, whether it's on players or on parties in Vegas, and I would think that he would be very generous and open-minded about the gifting of rings. It's a very, very special moment, but that night at the Q next year when they receive their championship rings will be really special.
I take it the presentation of the rings does not extend to people who are covering the parade.
Do you think there's any hope, any chance, Jimmy?
I don't think so. I don't want to lead you on. And of course, the night that they'll get their rings, the owner will present them to them along, typically with the NBA commissioner. Adam Silver would be in town to once again bring the ring and everything like that, and be there for the hoisting of the banner.
So we have that to look forward to come October. LeBron told us last season, right before the playoffs began, he brought his rings from Miami, his 2 championship rings, into the locker room to show them off a little bit. So we know this is going to be quite a moment. It's not only symbolic for all of us, but for them to take ownership of that ring.
I got to tell you, Sarah, out in Berea, the Browns have a replica of their 1964 championship ring, which right now looks like a class high school ring when you compare it to the rings that are handed out now, whether it's to a baseball team, a hockey team, or in this case, an NBA team. It's unbelievable the change in these rings.
Oh, they're like bracelets now.
Sometimes, they are just amazing.
They're huge.
Yeah, they are really huge. But that's what they play for. A lot of them all, everything is about the ring and getting a ring. And so I'm sure very quickly now they will start the design of that. And usually they bring the players in, or special players in, to kind of come up with a design and then the making of the rings.
Now, will Andy Verja get a ring?
Yes, he will. I believe he will. Yeah, so he would have gotten a ring either way, right?
True.
Win or lose.
Right.
Not only that, but I would presume, I would think David Black will get a ring. I would also presume that Andy Verja would get a winner's cut as far as, what the money is for the winner's share. Because, and whether or not he'd get a full share, but Andy was with them through 3/4 of the season.
Kyrie Irving we're seeing right there.
Kyrie Irving with the champagne, also shirtless.
That's right.
It is getting a little warm, 76 degrees we have on our monitor here, but lots of sunshine here in downtown Cleveland. You can see they're actually hosing off the crowd over on Mall A up towards the Veterans Memorial, and I'm sure people are enjoying that because it is getting a little warm. There's lots of sunscreen needed, water going around. The city has provided bottled water for everybody that's here just to make sure that everybody's staying safe, hydrated, keeps having fun.
And the porta potties as well. Despite what what the initial report was yesterday, the city did get those porta potties.
The potties are in the house.
Now let me ask the two of you on this, and I throw this out there. From the parade route, if you're up on 9th Street, and once they go by you, and that has ended, the tail end of the parade, do you think that crowd then leaves and tries to get back down here to the mall?
I think that, yes, people will try to do that. I don't know how well that will work. Just looking at the number of people we've got
where would you go?
Out on Mall B. Mall C is a little bit more room as you move toward the lake here. But that, again, is underneath the convention center. So I don't know what kind of a advantage you're going to have if you head towards Mall C. But I think that was probably some people's intention, especially when they saw a little bit of the timeline come out yesterday, that we are expecting there to be a lull in the activity once the parade has ended and gets all the way up to where we are, that the team, the players, everybody else is going to go inside a public hall, regroup a little bit before the stage ceremony begins. So I think people are going to use that time to maybe make their way over here.
I think you're right. I also think that for some of those folks, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It is lunchtime, so maybe they'll jump into a local watering hole, which I'm sure are doing pretty brisk business today, and probably watch the rest of it on television. Because again, this is being part of history. People brought their kids down here, their grandkids, their grandparents, their great grandparents, everybody to say they were here on the day the Cavaliers held their victory parade.
Now, the Cavs do such an amazing job, and they really do in-game presentation at the Q, at a home game. I mean, at every time out, they entertain. And, of course, their introductions are second to none before any game, or certainly before the finals. And, they take great pride in their production. So, with that being the case, I would think this, once they get to the stage here, the Cavaliers have some pretty inventive minds, and I bet they put on a good show here, too.
I bet it's going to be something. There's Kyrie again with he's another shirtless.
Drinking champagne.
Drinking champagne, that's right. Shirtless as well, which seems to be the wardrobe of the day.
I can't tell, but it kind of looks like rosé in his hand. And I know there was a special rosé champagne that the Cavaliers had lots and lots of bottles standing by, sort of their signature in the wine and gold.
Wow. Sommelier
way of
Sarah
doing
Strickman.
things.
And there were
I'm all about the culture, guys. What are they wearing? What are they drinking?
There was that a couple of bottles of champagne that the ownership group had, that they had for so many years. And
those
that
3-liter bottles, I think they were telling us
decided
about.
they would not open those until they won a championship. I think those are open.
I think those are open and probably empty.
I think they're empty, Yeah.
All right. You are watching Channel 3 and Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Cavaliers victory parade through downtown Cleveland. More to come after break. And welcome back. As we take a look at the parade, the Cavaliers victory parade making its way through downtown Cleveland at this hour. It continues. It started about 30 minutes late. However, it is still going strong. Most of the parade heading down 9th Avenue at this point, headed over to Mall B, where the big presentation, big celebration will take place, which is probably going to be, if we were to guess, about 45 minutes from now. But things have been pretty fluid today, as you can imagine. A lot of moving parts here, literally. And Fox Sports is saying 800,000 people in downtown Cleveland today, which would be just amazing. I think, guys, we can probably believe that just based on what we've seen so far. That would not be that far-fetched, right?
Yeah, we can't see very much from where we're standing. We know there is that much more out there along the parade route. So there are quite a few people here in Mall B. Tens of thousands, certainly 800,000 was the estimate that Cleveland police were working off of what to expect for today. And it seems like everyone who was expected has turned out.
Now, the only thing that you can always compare this to annually would be the St. Patrick's Day parade, right?
That's right.
But the St. Patrick's Day parade does not have, of course, a final gathering place, okay? Sort of. I know there are a lot of gathering places.
There are a few gathering places.
But not one central gathering place. I know Flannery's is calling right now and saying, what is Jim saying? Of course we gather there. But they don't have, the St. Patrick's Day parade. So you wonder, this might be the largest gathering at one time in downtown Cleveland?
You really wonder that. It's interesting. Our executives met with the city yesterday just to kind of iron out what was going to happen today in terms of security, in terms of what they were going to do. And the city, quite honestly, Mayor Williams saying, quite honestly, we don't know. We've never done this before. They certainly had a plan in place, but there was no template for this. There's no history to go on. This is all new territory for everybody, and hopefully this is not the first time. It's not the last time, rather.
That's right.
They have to use this plan.
Yeah, Police Chief Calvin Williams, he was very honest about all of that. We don't know exactly what we're going to run into tomorrow, but as we've seen, things have gone really smoothly. The city has reported that people are behaving themselves. The biggest issue they had are with people not using crosswalks. As you can imagine, there's a lot of people out in the streets, literally on the streets here in downtown Cleveland today. These beautiful pictures we've got, courtesy of the Goodyear blimp. And as they said, this isn't just a good year, it's a great year, right, guys?
That is true. It is a fantastic year.
Well, the other thing that will be interesting once they get on the stage is who speaks, or will they all speak? Will they all have something to say? And of course, you can anticipate LeBron, speaking to his legions here today, and that will be very, very great. But the players obviously probably haven't seen the pictures here from them, or paid attention to the pictures here from where they're headed here to Mall B, because it is going to be amazing, because this is just really something. Sarah, I think that maybe some people have kind of weaved their way down here, because now even in the other side of the stage, as we look beyond up towards the middle of downtown, that crowd has grown amazingly behind the stage.
That's funny. It looks like Mall A has filled in quite a bit.
Yeah, it's funny. We haven't really talked about that. We're on one side of the mall, and we look at the stage in the middle, but you're right. On the other side, there's just as many people.
That's really grown, though, yeah.
And we're seeing some of the first people start to make their way into this VIP area. There's a very small area of seating right in front of the stage. We were seeing them set up the chairs yesterday. Not sure exactly who's invited beyond that velvet rope, but there are some people beginning to take their seats there. So that makes you think that they are anticipating the ceremony to begin. We had heard originally 1:30. Again, things have been very fluid today. Started about a half hour after the parade was expected to start, about 11:30 this morning. So maybe things will be delayed accordingly. We're, of course, going to be with you throughout the afternoon here, and we thank you so much for joining us for Channel 3 as we celebrate a championship today.
12:51, 51 minutes past high noon, and it is getting kind of warm out here. It really is, and the city has been very good, and vendors have been very good here about having water for people. You can see that they also were spraying the crowd a little earlier with water. No reports of any injuries, heat-related, anything like that. No reports of any police activity whatsoever. This crowd, once again, very well behaved, as the crowd was on Sunday night after the game. I think we talked about this earlier. Only 5 reports of any sort of police in any sort of infractions there that police had to become involved in.
There's the Grady. That's Iman Shumpert with child on shoulder. But that was an amazing story when that happened.
During this season.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable story. Look
at that.
Iman Shumpert's wife.
Some hosts hoist the Lawrence O'Brien Trophy. Others hoist their babies.
That's
Baby
right.
Junie,
Yeah, that is great.
Iman Shumpert's wife, Tiana Taylor, was pregnant as this season began, and we all got to hear the delivery take place on a 911 call inside their apartment. If you don't remember, we're referencing that story right now. They were home when her water broke, and everything started happening very, very quickly. And Iman Shumpert, I just remember listening to that call and thinking, he was so gracious for all of the help the 911 operator was giving him over the phone as he's delivering his daughter. I think it was a surreal moment, certainly, from the sounds of things, but he just kept saying, thank you for helping me, walking me through this process.
Now, Sarah, in keeping with your eye to the style side, during these playoff runs, Shumpert was wearing a bun.
Yeah, he had the man bun going, and close to the front of his head. It kind of hung over his face. I was worried it was going to get in his eyes quite a bit, Bangs can do that.
Well, it might have. I think he pulled it back a little bit. His shooting percentage was not doing very well early in the playoffs. It got a little bit better. He is not with bun today.
No, this is more of his signature style, I think. He's back to the signature.
I was inspired by him, and I tried that look one night. The boss wasn't a big fan of it, so I went back to my regular do. But I totally understand there. Wow, as we take a look at the crowd, we get a pan there of this crowd here. And Sarah, you're right. I wonder, a lot of people probably have come down here after the parade.
Look at that shot there. I mean, that's from the stage and all the way back. You see some cheerleaders here. Boy, it's just it's an incredible thing. You just keep shaking your head that we're actually here.
Yeah,
really doing this.
You really do.
Wondering what kind of handouts they've got along the parade route. Candy is a very popular parade item. I think they've got some beads, some Cavalier lanyards I've seen being handed out to the crowd. Those who were lucky enough or came early enough, probably overnight, to be right up along the parade's edge today, taking some nice little souvenirs home.
Also, we saw the Ohio State marching band here earlier in the parade. I wonder if they're going to be here, if they're actually going to make their way here to the mall. Do we have any information on that?
It would be great, and I don't know the format of once they get here, but wouldn't it be great to have them come up there and play Hang On Sloopy or something like
it would
that?
Get
I mean, that would
everybody going.
You'd be going crazy with the O-H-I-O. I think I spelled that right.
I think so. Maybe we can send in that request. I would love to see them do a script Cavs, you know?
That'd be nice.
Their formations are one of their strongest points.
Yeah.
So it would be pretty neat to see them break out something for the wine and gold today.
As you were saying, that's worth the price of admission in itself. Maybe Lil Wayne will accompany them. What do you think?
That's right. Yeah, we were just listening to that Lil Wayne song, came out about 10 days ago. Off, off, off. They're using it to get the crowd pumped up here.
We just had a shot of the world champ from the fighting championship, the UFC, as Stipe Miocic is part of the celebration here today. We had him in studio at Channel 3 after he won the belt.
You got to wear the belt.
Yeah, I didn't because Betsy knocked me out.
She
like
wore it for
Stipe
weather
knocked the
cats.
guy out from Brazil, and she ended up wearing it. There's the band. Sarah, they are here. There's
again
Stipe.
as well. He got married this weekend,
What
so
a great-
congratulations
yeah, what a
to
great
Stipe.
news
We
for
knew
him.
that was coming up,
That's a
and I
terrific
saw
guy.
he was posting how excited he was to have not only a Cavs win, but start off a new chapter in his life. So congrats to him and his bride.
We look behind us every once in a while. You'll hear the crowd become really excited, something they're seeing on the big screen. The crowd here at Mall B, there are at least 6 big TV monitors set up, so it's not like they're not watching the parade here as well.
And a great sound system as well. Oh, look who we've got there. Speaking of Ohio State, Urban Meyer, Gene Smith, athletic director.
Gene Smith from Cleveland Heights, right? Over at Cleveland Heights, and the athletic director at Ohio State. And there's Urban Meyer, who was sitting at many of the playoff games, and right behind the Cavs bench. And LeBron is just a huge Ohio State Buckeye fan in all sports, but Urban Meyer knows a thing or two about winning championships, and it's great to have him here. Of course, from Ashtabula, and then coached at Bowling Green, and went on his way to Utah, and then down to Florida, and then to Ohio State. And so it's good to see him here. But it was great seeing him. He was at some of the finals games that were over at the Q. Now there's a good spot, huh?
Yeah.
Is that legal up on the lamppost there?
Wow,
I'm thinking
up
that's,
on top of the traffic monitor.
Sarah, you were talking about people jaywalking. I think that kind of takes it to the next level.
Yeah,
That's,
I don't think Cleveland police can be too happy about that right there.
No. That's not cool. Certainly.
Lolly the Trolley? Is that Lolly the Trolley in the
think
background
so.
there?
It is.
Yeah.
We've got some streamers, a little teepee action going on over the parade.
Wow. That's Mall B again. Again from the Goodyear blimp.
Awesome.
From Akron, Ohio. Akron born. A great year it is for Cleveland and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And look at that. Sarah, we thought on Sunday when we looked out over Gateway Mall and we saw what we described as a mini Times Square that was pretty incredible. But that shot, we saw that's something that we've never seen before, I don't think. In Cleveland.
Yeah, no, these are totally different numbers we're talking about today. Even then came out Sunday to celebrate the Game 7 and the win afterward. Just pandemonium in Cleveland streets, and here it is again today. I love seeing the confetti flying in the air. They've got confetti cannons they're using to get that gold confetti flying over the crowd.
Now we have a new Canyon of Champions in Cleveland.
I was really surprised, pleasantly so, on Sunday when you see the amount of people that made the pilgrimage to come downtown and be a part of that, because in this day and age of 58, 72-inch television screens, you would think you would want to watch the game at home for a Game 7. But people said, no, I really want to go downtown. I want to be a part of it when it happens. So, it was just amazing to see the amount of people that made the journey down there, young, old. They were out in huge numbers, as you two witnessed.
We were just seeing Cleveland police there at the very front of the parade route, making that left onto Lakeside Avenue. And that is where we told you earlier, there is quite a crowd of people. The parade route should take the group left onto Lakeside and then onto East 6th Street from 9th, where they are at the moment. They just tried to make that turn, and police are at the front there. I don't know if they'll try to part the sea at this point, so
Right.
the parade can continue along the route as planned.
And Jimmy, you were saying earlier that the plan as we know it right now is when they make that turn, they'll go into public hall.
Yeah, they were going to go into
for a bit.
Yeah, and again, now everything is up for waiting to see what happens. But I think everybody thought that is that Tristan Thompson right there shooting a water cannon off, right? Tristan Thompson, there he is. Fun-loving Tristan Thompson. Oh, those Canadians, Russ and Sarah. They know how to party. A huge, huge factor in why we are here today. This guy does it all. And a lot of people thought, giving him all the money they gave him in the offseason, and remember he was, holding out for a while, under the guidance of LeBron James, because he's represented by LeBron James's people. A lot of people said, hey, he's not a great scorer. I mean, how can you give a rebounder that much money? But I think we saw it play out. This guy dominates things. And then when needed to score, he scored. Now, give him a lot of credit. The other night, he hit his free throws. And that, was a strategy that Golden State was going to use to try and get back into the game and get the Cavs out of sync by fouling Tristan Thompson, because he has struggled at the free throw line in the past. But when they needed it the most in Game 7 on Sunday night, he nailed his free throws. And as always, he dominates defensively and on those rebounding boards. I mean, he gets you the ball.
He did what he had to do.
Yeah.
It is now 1:01 on Wednesday, the 21st of June. You're watching WKYC Channel 3 live coverage of the Cavaliers victory parade as it makes its way through downtown Cleveland. Actually, we're coming on up. They made the left turn on Lakeside, going to go in the public hall for a second. The players regroup for a bit, then come out here to Mall B, where thousands are waiting for the big presentation, big party to begin, hopefully in about 30, 45 minutes from now.
Yeah, the overhead shots there really give you a sense of the depth of the crowds that are lining the, you know what you almost need? Remember when if you ever, Sarah, you're too young for this, but do you ever remember when at the old golf tournaments, when they would have galleries and those guys would hold up those things and they'd have a mirror or something up, and they could deflect and kind of move it, and so you could see over the heads of the galleries? You almost need that kind of thing. If you're not in the first couple of rows there,
you're not going to see it.
You're not going to see it.
I wish I could tell you I was too young for that as well, Jimmy, but I can't. I do remember that. And you're right. If you're standing back, it's 10, 15 rows deep. You would need something like that to really see what's going on. But part of being here is, I mean, obviously you want to see stuff, but part of being here is just the atmosphere.
Yeah, just being here, right?
Just being here. Part of the atmosphere is saying that you were here on what is truly an historic day. Look at that.
These are going to be stories that my generation tell their grandkids, guys. So we may not remember the mirrored golf outing, but we are loving these shots from the Goodyear Blimp today, where you can see the crowd that has come out to support this championship team. 52 years in the making here in downtown Cleveland. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful sight.
What a beautiful sight. When the parade began, we were told there'd be 60 units.
Oof, look at the...
That's amazing. Tracing
it just
the
never,
parade
it just,
here.
it just never stops.
Yeah.
60 units, again, including the Ohio State marching band, making their way through downtown Cleveland here to Mall B this afternoon.
Well, as you can look over to the left there's no traffic now on the highway because everybody's in the city. I mean, they're easy, smooth sailing. And a look at Progressive Field, which has been hopping the last 9 or 10 games in a row that the Indians have played at home, and now sport a first-place record, 40-30 on the year, and they finished their homestand tonight.
You got to expect that it's going to be hopping again tonight, Jimmy, as they have offered $16 tickets for people to come in. They're encouraging this Cleveland crowd, these sports fans that have come out today to spend the rest of the day here in downtown Cleveland, go into the Indians game, $16 for a ticket, celebrate the Cavs and the Indians at this very same time.
Yeah, well, you know what will be good now is that for them, I'm saying, for the Indians now, this will be good. I mean, they've gotten their act together and they're playing really well and they have an incredible pitching staff. But now the attention will naturally shift to them, and it should. I mean, it's time, this will be over, and we'll go on into the off-season, and the Cavaliers players after today, they're going to disperse and go on their various vacations, and then it will be time for baseball in Cleveland. And if you haven't been watching, you're going to all of a sudden look in and go, wow, they're playing really well, because everybody has been so consumed by every series that the Cavaliers won. I mean, remember, this journey started April 15th.
That's right.
And then it ends in June. I mean, 2 months. Richard Jefferson said it was the most stressful the last month in the finals and conference playoffs, the most stressful month of his life.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And somebody told me at Game 6 at the Q the other night that if this game went to Game 7, which of course it did, the final started June 2nd. They ended on the 19th of June. 17 days. Now, granted, they didn't play every day, but that's longer than the Summer Olympics, where Sarah will be going.
Yeah, we're all getting
August.
ready for the Summer Olympics starting on August 5th here on WKYC, where the opening ceremonies will kick off in Rio de Janeiro. The Summer Games, of course, something we all look forward to every 4 years when they come back to NBC. But yeah, and those Olympics can seem like a grind for a few weeks, Certainly the athletes that are participating. So to imagine that we've just finished a longer road than that Olympic one.
If LeBron does not go to the Olympics, and again, recapping the news that's come out before he got into his car and went on parade today, the news coming out from USA Today and Cleveland.com is that, number one, he is staying with the Cavaliers, and he is going to come back and defend this NBA championship and try and win another one next year. The other news is that when asked about, are you going to go to Rio and play for Team USA, he said, I don't think so. Now, he is waiting to contact USA Basketball to give them an official declaration on that. But the situation right now is that he's played in 3 Olympics, okay, and he's won 2 gold medals. I mean, he's done his part. Now, there are other stars. Steph Curry's not going. James Harden's not going to go. There are other players who are not going to go. You got to remember the mileage LeBron has on his body. He's been in the finals 6 years in a row, so he's been playing into June every year. And of course, Russ, the other fact is, the other thing that you're right, the finals really went a long time. Remember now, they added those extra days off for the travel, which probably helped the Cavaliers. It really did. Probably, especially when you're going coast to coast, and the way that they had to do that. They played Game 5 and Game 7 there, and they got an extra day, whereas it used to be just one travel day and bang, you play the next day.
And you were saying LeBron already has 2 gold medals.
Yep.
So it's not like that. He doesn't have that hardware already in
and he's played, and he's done his part, and I really mean this. He's done his part not only for the Olympics, but he's played in other Team USA competitions, the World Championship. He's played for them a number of times, and so it means a great deal to him. But I would definitely think that Kyrie Irving would play in the Olympics now, and there's a lot of talent.
Share the
in
spotlight
the
a little
States.
bit.
Yeah.
If you're a Cavalier fan, Jimmy, do you think there's any reason you want LeBron to play or not to play in the Olympics?
I would think right now, I'm not surprised at what he said today, Sarah, because, he's 31 years old, and again, he's played so much basketball in the last 6 or 7 years, and he's played in a couple of Olympics that have taken him deeper into the summer. I think that he would be wise to kind of step away. I think it would be great for Kyrie Irving to go and play. Now, Kyrie had a disappointment a couple of years ago when it looked like he was going to be a part of Team USA, and he broke his hand, remember, in the workout camp, and wasn't able to play. And Irving was an MVP for Team USA in a championship cup world tournament that he played in. So I think that it's great for Irving to play. He's only 24. Let him experience that. He's going to play at the top competition internationally. It's his time now. I think it would be wise for him to step away. I agree with what he's kind of inferring his decision might be today.
And that earlier news that you told us about, that's not really a bombshell. We suspected that LeBron was going to stay, but there were all these rumors out here that he perhaps was going to go to another team, so we can all breathe easy about that right now.
Yeah, no question about it, because those things really take on a life of their own when that happens. Now, so if with him saying that today, the big topic in the NBA will now become Kevin Durant of the Oklahoma City Thunder. What is he going to do? He's a free agent. Does he think he can win a championship in Oklahoma City? Or does he say, no, I'm not going to win it there? Golden State has basically come out and said, hey, listen, we want him. He's priority number 1. Now, remember, all of this is going to be done with thoughts of how do we beat Cleveland now?
Right.
How do we beat Cleveland? Do we add Kevin Durant? We have the money. Do we go out and get him? There's the mayor.
Yeah, because that's is this from earlier today, or is this live right now we're looking? This is a tape. This is live. Wow. Mayor Frank Jackson.
Will they drop him off at City Hall when they make the turn, and he can
have lunch?
Just go back to his office? Yeah, head back to work. Wow. Take care of the city.
Yeah. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal.
And there is the trolley again. We're taking a look inside Lolly the trolley. Quite a crowd riding the trolley through the middle of the parade.
Sarah, look over your shoulder here, Russ, and too. You can see the police lights. So I think we're starting to get them on Lakeside here. A bit of ahead of the parade. Yeah, I think they are on Lakeside. That is confirmed right now. So we are moving along. We are moving along here at a little after 1 o'clock.
And as we look at these, as we look out here, maybe we can show you these pictures later. Looking on the tops of buildings, City Hall. People are on the roof
look
of City Hall, looking on the roof of the Jones Day Law Office at Lakeside and 9th. Seeing people on the roof watching this. They're everywhere. Looking on the other side, there are people on the roof.
You know what was a great shot the other night when they won the championship was the garage that was, right up there at Gateway, and the people were just in those, those areas, the window areas of the garage, the open spaces. I mean, that was a great. I mean, there were so many great shots.
Those Hollywood squares.
Right, exactly. Paul Lynn de Block.
Paul Lynn de Block. That's right. Phyllis
trying
Diller
to get a watch of the TV from the watch party, even if they couldn't get tickets.
That is the roof of the Jones Day building on 9th and Lakeside Avenue, and people. That's not a bad view either. We've got a great view here at the Hilton Cleveland downtown. That's a nice view as well.
I'll tell you what, we also have nice temperature right now because we have shade here up in our broadcast position. Not so for to the hundreds of thousands that are down below us and that is the street, folks. That's not Mall B there. That's Lakeside Avenue. Look at that. The stairs of City Hall and then right out onto the street.
And even though it's only 74 degrees. Even though it is only 74 degrees out here outside. Hey, there we are. Let's turn around and wave. Where are you guys? Let's wave. Can you see us?
Yes. Well,
wherever you are. We're waving
wherever you are.
But that's where we are. Towards City Hall. Oh, it's this way, guys.
Yeah, there you see Jimmy and his bright coral shirt today.
Even though it's only 74.
Waving towards you over on.
Even though it's 74 degrees out here, which it does not seem very hot, but the sun is very warm. And as Jimmy was saying, we are in the shade here, which is a great thing. If you were out in the sun and you've been out in the sun for a while, it can definitely take its toll. There are plenty of people passing out water. We saw some people being sprayed with a hose. Wow, look at that.
Right passing the Galleria, I believe we're seeing at the bottom part of your screen there with all of those mirrored windows. You can see how deep the crowd is there along East 9th Street. Just incredible.
Well, it's a day we'll never forget. It's a day we waited for a long time. Dave Chudowski is out on the parade route right now.
Super Dave.
Yes, Super Dave, who did a super job, didn't he, during the playoffs?
Super Dave
did a great job.
We're going to nominate him for Employee of the Month. What do you think?
I think so, yeah. He's right there with Jason Lloyd. Jason Lloyd is controlling that Akron area vote. Dave's got the west side, I think. So far, it's a real battle. I know the two of them are ready to go. Dave, how you doing down there?
Jim, I'm great, and thanks to you, Super Dave. I get it at every airport I go across the country, so thank you for the Super Dave nickname. And this is a super day as everyone's getting anxious right here. People are waiting for the parade to come down this way. You guys have been talking about Lakeside Avenue. It's been astonishing to watch it for the last 45 minutes or so. I would have thought the front of the parade would have gotten here a lot sooner. It was amazing to watch the people on the street just have to be pulled apart. It was a sea of people, and they got them apart, but then everyone collapsed again. I have to feel that was part of the slowdown process. But there's not even a street there right now. It is just people everywhere. And then behind me, of course, is the stage. A lot of people laying down. People are hot. They're anxious. They're ready to go. It's been a lot of fun, too, to talk to the fans, look at the different shirts. My favorite one so far, LeBlock, with the picture of LeBron's block on there. And there are just all kinds of people here. People have come up and stopped and talked to me, talking about how it had to happen this way to have the curse end the way that it did. That made it worth the wait. I'm not sure about that. I would have liked to have seen it happen sooner, but boy, at least it's happening now. And I'll tell you, everyone is fired up to see this parade get down. And what's going to happen is they're going to end at East 6th. and then make their way in. But, I mean, I got to believe it's still going to be a while because the beginning of the parade is now just getting to E6. They were able to get the people apart there to go through. I joked about it earlier, how they were going to get it done. I am no parade expert, so I had no idea how they would do it, but they're just cutting through a very small margin. Jim, you talked earlier about St. Patrick's Day. I had to laugh because I was thinking about that myself. It feels like St. Patrick's Day on 52 years of steroids. It's incredible down here.
Very good.
Can't get enough of it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In your first comment, you just don't hand out a nickname like Super Dave unless someone's pretty super. And Dave did a phenomenal job with the Cavs day in and day out on all of those series.
I think we say nothing is given here at Northeast Ohio, right?
That's right.
Everything is
Very
earned,
good.
including Super Dave.
So anyway, it is slow going.
Well,
you can see why. You can see why.
A delayed thank you from Super Dave Chudowski there. It's slow going. You're right. You can see why with all these folks out here. Look at that. They're stopping. They're greeting the crowd.
It's not 2 lanes. It's like 2 feet, right? To get something
and
through.
Checking on Twitter, it seems like people are there is a little bit of difficulty right now that police and EMS crews are having just clearing that area so that they can get the parade route through. Crowd control is a little bit of the problem.
Being good. Gotcha.
So, yeah, they're just trying to control the crowd as we speak and also fighting a little bit of heat-related emergencies at the moment. Nothing too severe, but certainly making sure that people stay hydrated. They do have lots of bottles of water to be handed out. But some of these folks, if we look at the time now, about 1:15, 1:16 or so, some of these people have been out here 12 hours. 8 hours, definitely.
Yeah, that is true.
So folks, need to make sure that they're taking care of themselves along the route as well, and Cleveland Police and all of our emergency services trying to make sure they can help.
And because things are a bit slow going, and we've said all along that we knew this was going to be a fluid situation, the actual ceremony here at Mall B was scheduled to start at 1:30. That is definitely not going to happen at this point. So these folks are going to have to be out here a bit longer in this heat. And we hope they're taking advantage of the vendors who are walking around with water and also the people who are spraying the crowd with hoses every now and then. So what do we have right here?
Another very, very large man without a shirt, I think, is the simplest way to describe it.
I think we've got Kyrie again.
Is Kyrie again?
Boy, Kyrie is having a
He's having a nice time.
He's having a good time. In NBA history now, Kyrie's shot will go down as one of the biggest shots in NBA history. I mean, that's a game winner in a Game 7 with under a minute to go in the game and a three-pointer at that. That's going to go down as one of the real famous shots in NBA history, as well as what happened about 30 seconds just before that when LeBron blocked that shot by Andre Iguodala. That is going to go down as one of the biggest defensive plays in NBA history. It happened in a Game 7 in the finals. Michael Jordan has had all of these great moments. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all these people have had all these great moments in NBA history in a deciding game. 2 of those Cavs, Kyrie Irving's shot, LeBron's block, they're going to go down in history as very, very magnified, clutch, never to forget moments.
The block, perhaps, will
the
be
block
will be
and our own version of the shot. Okay.
Can you pick a favorite between the two? Was there a moment as you were watching, Jimmy, that you knew?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give it to us.
When Irving hit the shot, that was the first time that I really, and I was in, the Channel 3 studio, and I really took a step back from the monitor and said, I'll be a son of a gun. This is really going to happen. This is really going to happen. And there have been other times where we thought that it's going to happen, but because we've been wounded emotionally by tough losses, you've been fooled by it, and you said, oh, my goodness. I mean, so there was that time, Sarah, as that clock was winding down that you said something, you still have that Cleveland feeling of something's going to happen, they're going to get licked here. Curry's going to throw it up from half court, and it's going to go in. But when Irving hit that shot, that's when it really hit me that I think they're going to win this thing.
There were still people on Monday who thought this was not really happening. I know some guys said, I feel like Charlie Brown trying to kick the ball and Lucy keeps moving the ball. Said it really happened. We really are the champions. So I know what you mean.
Yeah. Well, and Jimmy, you called it the Cleveland feeling. How do you think that's going to change now? You know, how do we define ourselves when we're the champion?
Well, I think it will change. I mean, it definitely will change. I mean, all of a sudden, you're just going to feel that you've seen it happen now. I mean, you've been waiting to watch it happen, and at times it just hasn't happened. And in movie-type form, well, that's Believe Land, right? That was the whole body of that 30 for 30 on ESPN. So I think now you just have that feeling that, first of all, it can happen. And it did happen. So, you do have that memory of it. And I think it will change. I think everyone will change about how they view Cleveland sports. Most importantly, in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio.
Which is great. And speaking of Believe Land, we talked about yesterday, they're going to put a new ending on Believe Land to reflect what happened on Sunday night. Jimmy, again, as you said, I hope your part does not get cut out. You were a prominent part of that.
So, yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen, but that is so appropriate to put that new ending on.
Now, I want to tell you, the behind the scenes on that, Russ, I think I interviewed with ESPN, and the sit-down interview was 3.5 hours. And I think I might have been in there for a minute and a half at that. Getting closer to reaching us. I mean, I think we can see, and people are over here on the outside rim of Mall B are looking over there, so the action is coming our way.
We're starting to see the confetti fly over Lakeside Avenue, and they have cleared the path, as we saw an overhead shot just a moment ago, all the way on to 6th Street. So the entire parade route now is clear, which was a little bit of a challenge for Cleveland police, but they will be able to get people moving along. One thing that Brian Crane, our producer out here, just shared with us, you guys remember the yellow hat that LeBron had on?
Right.
He's got that, I know I'm the fashion critic today, he's got the Nike Air t-shirt on. He's also got that yellow hat. The brand is called Unknown. And that hat, I've never heard of Unknown. Maybe that's the point, right? Unknown. But that hat, that yellow hat LeBron is wearing, has sold out already.
Already?
Already. Off of their website, Unknown has sold out all of those bright yellow hats. So that's what happens when LeBron James puts a hat on. Right?
Incidentally, just to clarify, he likes to be called award-winning producer Brian Crane.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Hey, and one other note now, Russ, I didn't, on the ESPN Believe Land, I believe that the air date with the new ending is going to be June 30th. So that's going to be a fast edit, right? We're almost there.
Have they come back to talk to you again? Another 3.5 hours?
No. No, they haven't. But that would be great. So that's good.
We are looking behind us now. Wow, we can see the confetti as it makes its way on Lakeside Avenue, making the turn to 6th, West 6th.
This is the first we've really seen the parade participants with our own eyes, guys. Pretty impressive. You can see those confetti cannons are getting the wine and gold confetti high in the air, coming up to the middle of City Hall, almost to the top of City Hall. You can see a little bit of glitter in the air, just a little sparkle sheen over Lakeside Avenue, and that banner that the city has hoisted onto the front of City Hall. Cleveland Cavaliers, your 2016 NBA champions.
And again, we're seeing people on the roof of City Hall. Looks like that. You talk about numbers growing.
Yeah, there you go. Look at there's the sign at City Hall.
Awesome. And up on the roof of City Hall, more and more people have come out to take a look. And we saw them on the corner of 9th and Lakeside as well in the Jones Day building.
And the city clarified yesterday, although Mayor Frank Jackson declared today Cavaliers Day a local holiday, city employees did still have to go to work today.
They did. They did. A number of companies, though, another number of companies actually closed down today because of this holiday, which surprised me. Not just downtown companies. If you're downtown, you're closing for the day, you can say, okay, it's going to be hard to get in.
Yeah.
But some businesses in the suburbs closed as well, taking
a lot of service industry folks as well, which I like to see. You know, Great Lakes Brewing Company, certainly a place that we all think of as a place to have fun and enjoy and celebrate Cleveland, not opening until 3 o'clock this afternoon, so that their employees could be over here to enjoy the parade with the rest of us. Then they can go over there and get a Dortmunder Gold.
Great idea.
There was a good shot of LeBron there for a second, and there's the confetti cannons sending it. That's when you know the parade has arrived. in your vicinity, and there he is.
There he is, right there.
There's that yellow hat.
Look at always stretching. That's important, friends. Always stretch. Keep yourself nice and loose. Yesterday was Yoga Day, wasn't it? International
Yoga Day.
Yeah, you know what?
Jimmy,
Have you
I
ever?
like it.
I want to tell you something. Have you ever seen him do yoga?
I've not.
No.
Unbelievable what he can do. He, you know, when he went into this whole recrafting his body a couple of years ago, and if you remember when he came back to Cleveland the first time, remember he lost a lot of weight.
Thin.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight. But he really got into yoga, and when you watch him go out there, and he'll go out on the court and he'll do it, it's unbelievable the strength and the core strength that he has and the positions that he can effortlessly get into, and not only get into them but then hold them for long periods of time. He really has gotten into the complete maintenance of his body, and that is so important. You go back in his career, and I'll knock on my head, I'll knock on wood here, he has never really had a significant injury. You know, I mean, the types that you definitely see an athlete in basketball or football or baseball, they all experience something. Yeah. Not him. I mean, he's had the sprained ankles and a broken nose a couple of times and a sore elbow at times, but he has never had that significant injury, and it's because of the physical maintenance that he does to his body, and it's every day. Got up on the day of Game 7. He could not sleep all night long. I mean, I'm glad he couldn't, because I couldn't either. So, I mean, he got up at 2:30, 4:30, and finally he was frustrated, and at 6:30 he got up and he went down into the gym to do yoga, stretch, work out. He's an amazing athlete. He really is.
And as you were saying, at 31 years old, in basketball terms, he's got a lot of miles on him. So
he does. He does.
Not get injured, to keep going like that, and to have that sort of work ethic still after all these years.
And remember now,
amazing.
He didn't play in college. Okay, I mean, he didn't play in college. He went right to the NBA, and he plays huge minutes. I mean, he played 47 minutes of the 48 the other night in Game 7. I mean, he was exhausted at the end of the game. I mean, that's why he stayed down on the floor so long that time when it looked like he had injured his wrist. I think he was just totally spent. But yet, they say on that block that he made, that amazing block by Andre Iguodala, you know how ESPN goes by the numbers all the time and they have the sports science thing? When he chased that play down, they estimated he was going at 19 miles an hour.
Wow.
19 miles an hour.
Can you believe that?
You know, in a school zone, he's a mile an hour short of getting a ticket.
Just on his own 2 feet.
Oh, wow.
Just incredible. He looks like he's having fun. You know, we've seen him dancing with the crowd. He is all smiles today.
All these guys having a good time. Shirts off. You know, got stogies. We saw Kyrie with the champagne.
And they are spraying some water over the crowd because it is getting warm in the sun right now. 78 degrees here in downtown Cleveland. A beautiful, crystal clear day. The lake looks gorgeous. It's just a great day to be celebrating.
I'm no meteorologist, but Michael Estime was telling us yesterday that things look good for today, but around 3, 4 o'clock, potentially it could cloud up and maybe some rain showers. That's what he was saying yesterday. Again, I don't want to be, I've never been mistaken for Betsy Kling, so it's probably not going to happen now. But it's something we probably want to keep our eye on because this is running a little later than anticipated.
And I think Holly had moved that timeline back just a little bit, maybe the latest models this morning saying that rain showers certainly in the forecast, but maybe not until a little later this evening.
That's good.
7, 8 o'clock was more what she was talking now. So that's good. Gives people an opportunity to enjoy and then hopefully are safely back at home before any storms hit.
As we continue to take a look at these really beautiful pictures from the Goodyear blimp, which is
from this height, it's almost hard to see what's people. Those little ants down there, all that color.
Yeah, there are so many of them, right? There's no other definition. It's just all,
that is right.
It's all people. At First Energy Stadium off there at the top of your screen, and then into Mall B. Wow. And again, that VIP section that Sarah mentioned that's in front of the stage, that is even filling up more, which means maybe more of the families of the players who I'm sure will be seated in that section, and other dignitaries from the Cavs organization and the city. And they're moving and making their way into those seats in the front of the stage. And again, I point out, Russ, in the back of the stage, going more towards downtown Cleveland, that's Mall A, right?
Right.
That has dramatically filled up. Mall B's been really filled since we got here, but in the back of that in Mall A, it is just unbelievable how that has filled up.
And even over the last couple of hours, just when you thought you couldn't pack more people in here, they've packed more people.
Yeah, they have.
More people in here. A sea of wine and gold as we look out at Mall B. And they've been having little presentations here to keep the crowd amused. And on the big screens here right now, we're seeing the Monsters get the Calder Cup a couple of weeks ago.
Nice to see them as a part of today's celebration as well. The Monsters and the Calder Cup riding in the parade, lifting it up over the city. It's been a year of champions of different flavors here in Cleveland. Really nice. Just in the last, in the days since Believeland aired.
That's right. And
we have believed.
And here we go again. We're watching on the monitors out here. They're showing the end of the game on Sunday night. That's pretty much been on a loop throughout the past few hours. And we know when that is being played because the crowd goes pretty wild at that point.
When you were at out, where you were on Sunday night, could you, when they won it and and the place exploded down below, did the sound rise up to you?
Oh my goodness, I would say yes, definitely. Wouldn't
Absolutely.
you agree, Sarah?
Yeah, we actually were hearing everything at around, which was kind of cool because there was a bit of a delay. The Gateway Plaza party, the outdoor watch party that the Cavs had put on outside the queue, once the queue watch party filled up automatically, their feed was just a little bit faster than our feed, which was just a little bit faster than the feed on East 4th Street. So we knew those moments were coming, and you could hear it start at Gateway and spread across the city. It was incredible.
Yeah, it really was. It was something because it got louder as the night went on. Just when you thought it was going to calm down a little bit, it got even louder, which was great. And look at this shot. This is looking which way? We're
looking at Mall A, I think, out toward the lake.
It almost seems like it's looking at from the headquarters of Fox Sports Ohio now, which is in the Huntington building. That's almost the vantage point there. Now we're back down low. And we will, as the parade comes towards us, and soon to have a stage setting in front of hundreds of thousands, we will take a timeout and continue to celebrate a championship here live in downtown Cleveland on Channel 3. Aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. To an Akron native, this hasn't just been a good year, it's been a great year. Goodyear, Akron born.
And once again, major props to the Goodyear blimp for giving us these wonderful shots that we have seen throughout the course of our parade coverage today. You're watching Channel 3 coverage of the Cavaliers Victory Parade as it makes its way through downtown Cleveland. The first part of the parade has made that last turn onto West 6th. We are awaiting, maybe in an hour or so, we don't know at this point, the big presentation, big party here on Mall B, where, again, hundreds of thousands have gathered to take a look.
Now, did we just get a message or something from Cleveland Police that they would like to try and get the streets as clear as they possibly can?
Yeah, Cleveland Police have asked us if you are sitting at home, you're watching this feed, and you know friends or family that are here, they're along the parade route, and you can make contact with them, which no promises on how easy that is.
Yeah,
cell phone services has been difficult for those of us up here trying to send out messages and tweets and things of that nature. But if you can make contact, they ask to please clear the street. The parade and getting the parade through the streets is the most important thing we're trying to do right now. And if people are blocking that because they've made their way off the sidewalk and into the middle of the street, it slows everything down. I know they want to keep it on the schedule because there are so many things we do want to celebrate today, including a ceremony that, according to plan, would be starting as we speak right now around 1:34, but we're a little bit delayed, as happens when you're dealing with a crowd of 800,000 people.
Can you imagine that? Yeah, text Uncle Joe, tell him to get out of the street right now. That a message from the Cleveland Police.
We'll see if it works.
What if Uncle Joe texts back and said, "I'm not even near the street"?
That's true.
Don't pin this on me.
That's a problem right there. Dave Chudowski, Super Dave Chudowski, always follows the rules. We know he is not in the street, but he has been out and about all morning, giving us a bird's eye view from where he is of what's happening. Dave, you behaving?
I am. I'm doing my best. I have to say, I don't know how the award-winning producer Brian Crane's getting any info. I am getting nothing. I can't tweet. I can't text. I can't do anything. I've talked to my friends here. Nobody can do anything when it comes to their phone except for take videos and pictures. So if the police is trying to get the message out, good luck, because that is not happening, at least where I'm standing, and it's way worse, I would imagine, down there. As, again, a sea of people. They do have it cleared off, though, as I have been watching the parade turn down East 6th. But still, that's just the beginning of the parade, as everyone here is anxious to see LeBron and the players start to head this way. Back to another conversation that you guys had a little while ago, and you wondered, I think Jim asked, now if you were on East 9th or at the beginning of the parade, do you make your way here? Well, I can tell you that when I first got here at the beginning of the morning around 9, 10 o'clock, there was about one row, but now it is about 6, 7 deep of people looking over the edge to get the glimpse of the end of the parade, and more people are starting to gather here in Mall B as well. So next year, guys, when we have our next parade, I would say go ahead and start at the beginning and then make your way down. Now, you're not going to get a great spot because you'll be in the back here where I'm at, but still, I got to tell you, I don't know who I know, but I got a good spot because I can see the parade coming my way at the very end, and then I'll turn around and I'll watch the King and everyone else, and this place is going to go nuts. I can see you guys up there. Maybe you have Wi-Fi or something going on up there. You guys are lucky, but this is – I got to get myself a championship belt. There's all kinds of championship belts here, and again, I'll tell you, this is a great time. I wish I could share it on Twitter and everything. Maybe I'll get that capability, but I'm soaking it in. These are great memories. I'm doing my best, guys, and it's fun. And we're getting close to, I don't know how close, though. It's still going to be a while. It really is. Back to you.
All right. Incidentally, look at the guy right behind it. Doesn't that look like a Kevin Love lookalike?
It does.
Huh?
It does.
I know it's not Kevin Love, but it really looks like
here?
a Kevin Love lookalike.
Is that little Kev?
Couldn't that be Little
Could
Kev?
that be him?
Little Kev
There
is
was
here?
a little Kev
you like
t-shirt
that.
here.
I would, I'd be careful. He looks like Big Kev.
Get him out on the court.
He likes that, definitely.
I mean, you know, he looks like Kevin Love. That's
does.
good. Yeah.
All right, Super Dave.
Well, Super
Kevin-
Dave is right. I think this is going to be a while before we get the Cavaliers up on stage here. Fully expected maybe, you know, things to be slow because that's how big the crowd is here today. You know, a guy that really did a phenomenal job in constructing this thing, and he took a hit in January, and I think, you know, naturally it was a controversial move, but the Cavaliers general manager David Griffin really did an amazing job on a lot of fronts. Last year he made that amazing deal that at the time you kind of shrugged off. I mean, who's this guy Timofey Mozgov? And Shumpert wasn't, you know, Shumpert was a player that had a lot of injuries, and of course we've touched on J.R. Smith as being, you know, kind of a bad seed at times in the NBA, and teams just got rid of him. But David Griffin brought them here, and then he's made other moves. And then, of course, he had to make that move on the guy that he hired, David Blatt, and made that move. Now, that cost him in the voting for NBA Executive of the Year. He ended up like in 6th or 7th place in the voting. And he just won a world championship. Now, he made moves, but the NBA was so upset that the Cavaliers had made that move and fired David Blatt, with the Cavs being in first place at 30-11 in late January. When they did that, it was that kind of came out in the non-voting for David Griffin for NBA Executive of the Year. But if now you take a step back, okay, nobody had their finger on the pulse of the team more than David Griffin, and he felt something was wrong. So he made the move, went out, got Channing Frye then at the trading deadline, and that's why we're here. Everyone else that they voted for, they're not here today.
Right.
You know, they're watching the parade. He's in the parade. And that's I think, you know, that's the life of a guy that really has done a great job with this team.
hats off to him. And I remember when the David Blatt firing took place. He took a lot of hate. Griffin took a lot of hate.
Oh, yeah.
And remember that loss to the Golden State Warriors this year was like 40 points or something crazy like that?
They were behind at one time. It was on Martin Luther King Day on that Monday night, nationally televised game, and they were embarrassed. I mean, they lost by 40. They were losing by 42 points at one point in the game. They ended up losing in the 30s, but, I mean, they were out of the game. And, of course, by the end of the week then, the move was made. But David Griffin sat in his seat that night, and he said, hey, listen, not only can we not beat this team the way we are right now, but we can't even compete with this team the way we are right now. Now, that was in January. You had to get that right by June. And he did. And I think he really did a great job. I really do. I think he did a great job with this. That's not an easy job. It's not an easy thing to do, to fire a coach. Who would ever think you'd fire a coach when your team is in first place? But he had a feeling that the team was not right, and he did it.
And he did it. David Blatt coaching in Turkey, right?
That's right. He was asked, he was over at a Nike clinic during the playoffs, and he was interviewed by a number of American journalists, and they said, have you been watching the playoffs? Because the Cavs were, about ready to, I think it was the early part of the finals, and he said, no, I can't emotionally watch the games. Can you imagine being in that position?
Yeah, I can certainly understand that.
And we talked about it earlier. He will be going home with a ring in this case.
Yes.
Because of his relationship with the team for the beginning part of this season.
As we continue to look at the crowd here, I believe that's Mall B. Very patient crowd waiting for the ceremony here, which was scheduled originally to begin about 10 minutes ago. It's going to be a while, as Jimmy and Sarah have both said. Things are a little slow today. Fluid situation. I bet that guy or gal in that is really hot right
yes,
now. I presume. On the parade route, Mike O'Mara has been holding court all day. Mike, what can you tell us from your vantage point?
Holding court, that's so apropos because it's all about the court, and the king of the court is still about 3 blocks away. The mayor just went by, the Scream Squad, we're still waiting for the main part of the show, and the biggest problem they've got is that it's hard to get this crowd to back off because they all keep surging inside. They have to push them back. They brought the horses back in. So please, ladies and gentlemen, move back, and they're doing it. I mean, everybody's in a wonderful mood. There is no hostility, there's no drama, everything is all love, but it's almost too much love. They need to have some space to get these big rigs down around the corner here on Lakeside. So there's a holdup right at East 9th as the parade is coming down right there, and every so often we get a kind of a spurt of motion and they make their way down here. The place goes nuts, and so we're now probably, from our vantage point, about 5 to 10 minutes away from seeing LeBron in that convertible with a wife and kids and everybody else. So that's the situation down here, but I mean, it is extraordinary. I mean, the day is, you couldn't ask for something more spectacular with blue skies and sunshine and this sea of Cavs humanity that is just having a love fest all day out here. I mean, yes, there would be great if we all had some more water, but nobody's complaining. There's no drama. The only time there was something going on, they tried to have a car come through here, and they said, you know what, just back up. There is no way you're going back out there. So the person backed up, parked the car. They're done for the day, at least for the next several hours. So that's the situation here, you guys. Back to you.
Mike, that's a great shot of Mike with all of those people behind him there. I mean, just showing the crowd there. There was a great sign that just went up off behind us. See it right here in the back of Mall B? Huge sign that says more than a player. And of course, we all know who that's all about, LeBron James. He is more than a player. You shortchange him. There it is. If you just call him a player, just number 23,
right,
you are really shortchanging everything he does and everything he's now done in coming back here. And again, following through on that promise that he made to bring home a championship. It's astounding.
Such an appropriate banner there. Definitely. You are watching Channel 3's continuous coverage of the Cavaliers Victory Parade as it makes its way through the streets of downtown Cleveland. Next up, a ceremony here on Mall B. Don't know when that's happening, but you'll see it here on Channel 3. Our coverage continues after break. more pictures from the Goodyear blimp. A friend of mine just texted me, called this Cav-a-palooza, which I think is a really nice name for this.
Yeah, very good. Well, what will be the lead story on the news tonight? I was wondering.
I don't. I think there was a cat up a tree in Parma.
What are you guys going to lead with tonight?
We've got Cruz there right there taking care of this. This is going to be the lead today. It wraps tomorrow. And Sarah, you were saying tomorrow, of course, the big celebration in Akron for LeBron James.
Yes, Akron has planned its own celebration for the hometown hero in LeBron James at Lock 3 tomorrow night. I think the gates open around 7 o'clock. Standing room only, as you can imagine. As we have seen today, you can only imagine what kind of a crowd also will come out tomorrow in Akron. The ceremony will begin at 8. The mayor there, Daniel Horrigan, to pass out a very special proclamation to LeBron, who will, of course, be in the house for this. And neat to see Akron getting in on the action as well, because they have been so loyal to LeBron James, no matter what team he played for. But he really brought this championship not only to Cleveland, but home. In fact, we've been talking about the T-shirts, all the great designs that have come out over the last few days. There are some great designs out of Akron, Rubber City, a T-shirt company there in downtown, including one that says, "You're welcome, Cleveland. Love Akron." And I like that.
That is very good.
You would like that, wouldn't you?
I would. Yeah. I think I might need one of those, you know?
That's good. One of the members of the Lake Erie Monsters there, and they're in a float here today. Of course, they share the queue with the Cavaliers, and the Gladiators were here today too. Yes. The Arena Football League team is also here. Well, I go back, Sarah, to the when LeBron made the decision to come back, and his first public appearance after he wrote the letter was, of course, at Infocision Stadium at the University of Akron. And remember the huge crowd that went down there that night to see him come back? That's when they played the song,
Skylar Gray's I'm Coming Home.
Yeah,
you know, you hear that song, and it kind of takes you back to that emotional place we were all in, what it meant for LeBron to make that decision and announce it the way he did in Sports Illustrated with that beautifully written piece talking about what this area meant to him, what Akron meant to him, what it had done for him in his life, and the attitudes that we all sort of share here in Northeast Ohio. I think LeBron has made it clear to everyone that he is a part of this city, and it is a part of him no matter where he goes. This region goes with him. And it's kind of fun. I was watching the clip Trainwreck, you know. LeBron also a movie star in the movie that came out this year. He hosted a premiere in the spring and or in the fall, and I think he has a little bit in there, if you remember, the bit about Cleveland, where he says, "How come you guys never come to Cleveland? You always visited me in Miami," you know?
What's the difference?
I think folks are visiting him in Cleveland today.
Isn't he going to do it? He's going to do the Space Jam movie. Isn't he going to go back and do that?
Space Jam?
Yeah, he's going to go to do the Space Jam
remake.
But that night in Akron was amazing. You know, you mentioned the letter that he penned in Sports Illustrated, which was then helped to be written by Lee Jenkins, who did the article with him. And that was a phenomenal article and a great letter by LeBron. And when you asked Lee Jenkins about it, I remember Super Dave found Lee Jenkins the day after, maybe the day of, when LeBron released the news that he was coming back. And Lee Jenkins said, "Hey, listen, I did a little bit, but I mean, that was really what he wanted to say, and he wrote a lot of that himself." Now, you have to go to sportsillustrated.com. Lee Jenkins had an incredible article right after the championship game on Sunday with an up-close, and I mean, he is really embedded with LeBron James. So there's obviously a great deal of trust between writer and superstar in the relationship between Lee Jenkins and LeBron James. But he talks about LeBron having his kids with him in the post-press conference. And LeBron bolts out of the post-press conference, and everyone's wondering, where is he going? Is he running back, to get into the locker room and celebrate? And he has the trophy with him, and he's got kids by hand, and they're saying, where is he going? Where is he going? And everyone's trying to stop him, and he said, "I'm sorry, my son has to go to the bathroom."
At the end of the day, it all comes down to that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's what it's all about. How about the story that we had last night about his son, 11 years old. And again, I tend to believe that the sourcing on the story must be correct, that people would go with this, that he has standing offers to attend Duke or Kentucky on scholarship. If you've seen some of the video of him,
he's pretty amazing.
He is a pretty
Just
amazing
incredible.
11-year-old player. Yeah.
You said that didn't happen to you until you were 12 when you started getting.
That's when Duke first contacted
Right.
me. Yeah.
You know, obviously both Duke and Kentucky basketball powerhouses historically, but we know how much Ohio State means to LeBron James. He has said, as we talked about last night, if he had gone to college, he would have chosen to go to Ohio State. He's made good friends there. He's got his own locker, I believe, in the Ohio State football locker room, and the Ohio State marching band, part of today's festivities.
Yeah.
So, you know, he has really fostered a relationship with that university as well.
As we continue to look at the parade, and right now we're waiting for every one of the units to make it down to East 6th at Public Hall. What we've been told, Jimmy was reporting earlier, when everyone gets there, all the Cavaliers get there, they will go into Public Hall for just a few minutes, hopefully, and kind of compose themselves and come off this high of being going through this parade and get ready for the presentation here at Mall B. It was scheduled to begin originally at 1:30. We're not, I would say we're not close to that at all, just based on the way things are going.
No.
Slow going through downtown for a number of reasons, but it will happen, and it's going to be fantastic when it does.
It's been fun seeing all the signs out today. You know, lots of creativity out there. We've seen JR's shirt some people have put together. Here you're seeing some signs from the LeBron James Family Foundation out of Akron. Our champion and promise kept. I like that hashtag. You know, I promise, again, the name of the program he's put together for Akron elementary school students. A promise that LeBron recites with the students that are a part of his program, sponsored through the foundation, to stay in school, to do well, and to create bright futures for themselves, just as LeBron James has done.
Now, the other day when they got home, when the Cavs got home, as you see the Cavs flag.
On the top of the terminal
Yeah,
tower
on
there.
top of the terminal tower, which has been wanting gold for most of the month of June, hasn't it? The other day, though, when they got home, and LeBron went home then, and we had that amazing scene of the people lining that street, which I know, Sarah, you were there 2 years ago in that summer, that hot summer day when the announcement was made that he was coming back. And people immediately go to that street. But they were there the other day. But I think a lot of the kids from the foundation were up in front there.
Yeah.
And that's when the van stopped and he got out and he addressed the crowd. I mean, it was amazing. A lot of people thought he was going to do more at the airport. You know, when the plane touched down, he did a little bit. He came out and did the Cleveland thing, but then when he got to Akron and he got down by there, down to his home in the Bath area, he got out of the van. He had a microphone again, and he delivered a nice little talk to everybody and ended it with that line he always uses: "Remember, I'm just a kid from Akron."
Wow, you can imagine what that meant to what it meant to those kids. And Sarah, when you were there a couple of years ago, if memory serves me correctly,
Sarah, you're in Believe Land, I believe. There's a shot of Sarah.
There is a shot.
There is a shot of Sarah.
I am
yeah.
standing outside of his house.
That's
the day
why you
that
went to the
announcement
premiere,
was
I
made.
understand, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did the family
they
send out
didn't
water?
give me a speaking part. I was just an extra. No, and Russ, to answer your question, not water, but Sprite, which you know, LeBron
right.
James. Hey, if you go to LeBron's house, you get gifted a Sprite. That's what I found out.
Yeah.
I requested Diet Coke, and they had that too, so that was good news. But the cool thing this time around was that LeBron was coming home, because I remember standing out there and everyone going, "Hey, you guys, he's going to the World Cup. He's in Brazil.
Oh, that's right,
He's not
yeah.
coming
Went
home
to
today."
Brazil, yeah, he went to
You're going to be
Brazil.
waiting a while if you're waiting for him to roll up on the scene.
Hey, look.
There he is,
Jim
Jim
Brown.
Brown, the great Jim
Yes.
Brown.
He's got is that a microphone he's got?
Yeah, he does.
He
Yeah,
does.
he's been addressing the crowd, I think, along the
Let's
parade
listen.
route.
Can we listen to this?
This looks like the scene from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, wasn't it? Huh? When Ferris got up in the parade?
Twist and Shout, I believe was the tune he sang, Jimmy.
I think you're right.
Oh, boy, useless information. That's my middle name. You are watching Channel 3, continuous coverage of the Cavaliers Victory Parade making its way through downtown Cleveland. There he is, the legend Jim Brown, handing over the baton in many ways to LeBron James today. We shall return after a break. All right, as we continue to look at these fabulous pictures from the Goodyear blimp, what are we looking at there? Is that our hotel?
That is
Wow.
the brand new Hilton Cleveland downtown. You are looking at the reflection of the crowd in the windows off of the Hilton, and we are underneath that little shade there, coming to you from the 5th floor. What a beautiful view we've got
What
today.
a beautiful view. A bird's eye view, not only of Mall B, but also of the stage, which will light up hopefully in the next hour or so when the Cavaliers, city officials, and et cetera, take the stage to hoist that trophy for the city of Cleveland. It has been quite an amazing day here so far, as Sarah has pointed out. Sarah's a new member of has her AMS seal of approval today, meteorologist-wise. She just got that today.
Just borrowing the credentials of our wonderful weather team.
That's right. It has been a picture-perfect day weather-wise. You could not ask for better weather for the 21st day of June. 78 degrees, a little bit of a breeze out here. If you are in the sun, which these people have been for hours, it does become a bit of a challenge. So, but there are people down there giving them water. There are people spraying fire hoses on them as well. So hopefully they're taking advantage of all those cooling things.
I just got a little report, a few text messages from friends down in the crowd on Mall B here. They said, so hot and so hungry. And folks have been here for quite a little while, getting ready for this parade, getting into position as early, some as last night. As we were leaving after the 11 o'clock news, we saw people in lawn chairs posted up around the parade route today, just wanting to make sure that they became a piece of the history that is today, 52 years in the making, waiting on a championship parade here in downtown Cleveland.
What did Super Dave Chudowski call it earlier? 52 years of pent-up St. Patrick's Day parades on steroids.
That's right, 52 years of steroids.
There
That's
you
it.
go. That sounds great. 1:59 now. The ceremony here on Mall B was originally scheduled to begin at 1:30 today, running to a bit of a delay. And as we've been telling you all morning and kind of warning you that this was a fluid situation and things probably were not going to happen as they were scheduled. But that's not because of any sort of snags in the parade. It's been not because of any sort of problems. It just has been because this is a big thing, a lot of moving parts to deal with there as we look at the championship trophy making its way still through downtown Cleveland. This has been just a wonderful day for so many people down here, and these people experiencing we call it a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Hopefully that's not going to be the case.
Hopefully
there'll be many more
case.
parades to come, but this is something they'll tell their kids, their grandkids about for years to come.
The first of many, and Super Dave is amongst those out on Mall B today. He has secured a nice spot. He said he doesn't know who he knows. I don't know. He did a pretty nice interview with Cavs Dan while he was on the floor right after that win. So he's got friends in high places. The Euclid Beach boys taking the rocket car now through. You're seeing Super Dave. Are you down there? Are you with us? Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe Super Dave's not there right now. We don't have him. He's done a great job, as Jimmy was saying earlier. Super Dave went to every one of the playoff sittings, covered every game on the road, and made it back here. And of course, the finals. You're talking about a very long series. Just a wonderful job, and we've all nominated him, I believe, for Employee of the Month.
That's right.
So we've done it on TV. So everybody
and the
here.
crew, Tim Dubrovitz, who's been traveling with him, did a great job. And it has to be grueling when we know what they've gone through, just hooking up with the team, what the team was performing every night.
Right.
You can see why the NBA wanted to add some of those travel days, a little bit of time, although it extended this finals playoff series quite a bit. It did give them a little bit more respite in between each of these difficult games.
That's right, and so many people watched this and saw what was going on through our digital team as well, which did a tremendous job, led by Denise Pulverine. They did a great job keeping people informed of what's going on throughout the course of the playoffs, and they continue to do a great job today. By the way, if you have to tune away from TV, and we hope you don't, if you're sitting in front of the TV right now enjoying your lunch or enjoying a nice pop or something like that, hope you're enjoying this. If you do have to turn away, you can catch us on WKYC.com. You can also see us on Facebook Live, and we're going to be with you throughout the afternoon as this parade continues to wind its way through downtown, and we're going to bring you the ceremony here from Mall B also. That's coming up sometime this afternoon. As we look behind us now, we're Ahmad Crump, the Cavaliers in-house host at the Q, addressing the crowd right now, kind of getting everybody still pumped up. These people have been here for a while.
They have. We've got some picnic blankets out there, strollers, lots of chairs, but they are trying to get the crowd pumped up. They've just brought the Spirit Squad on stage here at Mall B, trying to get people on their feet again. And we've been using this VIP area right down in front of the stage where some chairs are set up as a little bit of a guide as to when things might get started here. in Mall B for the ceremony that's supposed to happen. It is filled up quite a bit, but we would still expect that we are a half hour or more away from the beginning of any ceremony on stage here. Things are delayed quite a bit just because of the amount of people, not only here along the parade route, but that have been in the street. Cleveland police have asked for folks to please clear out of the street so that the parade can continue to move at a nice pace so we can move on with the other festivities. This is the Spirit Squad up on stage now. Some of the Cavs cheerleaders getting really excited and getting the group going. Got their all-in 2-1-6. That was one of the things I loved about this season.
Yes.
That and we went back and forth. Is it 2-1-6? Is it 2-16? And the Cavs said, well, it's both. It's all of these things, you know.
We thought it was very clever, though.
Meaning there.
Yeah, 2-16. We thought that was very clever. This is something. This may mean something because this is the first time there's really been any sort of activity like this on stage. So it may mean we're getting a little closer. It may mean that folks are getting impatient out here. Not impatient. That's the wrong word, but anxious, I guess, would probably be a better word, as we wait for the ceremony to begin here on Mall B. So many people came out today. Sarah and I walked down here from Channel 3 studios at 13th and Lakeside this morning, and that was what would you say, Sarah, about 8:30, I guess?
Yeah, just before 8:30 we made our way out, and there was quite a crowd at that point, and it's only grown since then, right?
It is certainly only grown since then. As we continue to look at these pictures from the Goodyear Blimp in downtown Cleveland, as the parade makes its way through here, we'll for sure shortly, but we were actually wondering if people, once the parade passed them, if they would try to make it down to Mall B to see this ceremony. Would they go home? What would they do? Based on the fact that it looks like more and more people have arrived, even in the last hour, I'm guessing a lot of those people have made it down here to check out what's going to happen here very shortly.
Yeah, you're seeing some of the people now who have made their way to the edges of the mall, the area right in front of the Global Center for Health Innovation. That area has filled up quite a bit just in the last half hour or so. And here where we are at the brand new Hilton Cleveland downtown, there is a group of folks that are making their way onto the grass here. Not really clear what you can see, if much. Certainly the screens, if not the stage from the sidelines here where people are filling in as the parade continues to make its way towards Mall B.
Very nice picture there as you get another glimpse of the sea of
and that's Coach Lou.
Coach Lou, yes. Coach Lou from Mexico, Missouri.
Who I understand gave a tremendous halftime speech Sunday night in Game 7. Jim Boylan, his assistant coach, was on a national radio interview yesterday and said that the Cavaliers went into the locker room and they were down by 7 at halftime. I think it was 49-42. Golden State put on a little bit of a run right at the end of the half. And as they walked off the floor, the Cavs were down by 7 and a little bit satisfied when they got into the locker room. And they're kind of going, hey, okay, all right, we're all right. And Coach Lou came in and said, you mean we fought from 3-1 back to tie the thing up at 3-3, get it to a 7th game, and you're going to not play hard in the 7th game? And then he said, you're not playing hard enough.
Wow.
I mean, you're not playing the way you did in Game 5 and in Game 6. We're going to blow this after we worked so hard to get back even in the series. And then if you remember, they came out right at the start of the second half. J.R. Smith hit 3 consecutive shots, and that 7-point deficit turned into a lead. Ty Lue knew how to press the right buttons in the playoffs. I mean, he had to make a dramatic change, Russ, after the first 2 games of the series when they lost by 15 and 33. 48 points in the first 2 games. And, they did it. He did it.
Going back, Jimmy.
Hey, there's your buddy Olivier up there right
Olivier, my buddy. For Christmas, I want Olivier's voice. I think I can get that. Olivier or Wale Aliu. One of their voices.
There you go.
Get one of those. But there's Olivier up there getting the crowd ready. Jimmy, let's go back to when Ty Lue was named after David Blatt was fired. I remember you talked about this at that time. Were you surprised that Ty Lue got that job in the first place?
Well, I knew if they were going to make a change, he was going to be the guy that was going to get it.
All right.
If you go back a little bit, when David Blatt was hired, Ty Lue was the favorite at that time to get the job. A lot of people thought Ty Lue was going to get the Cleveland job. He was going to be the head coach of the Cavaliers. David Blatt was a friend of David Griffin's, and through past experiences and scouting, David Griffin scouting for the teams that he worked with before coming to the Cavaliers in Europe. And David Blatt's a big-name coach over in Europe, not only over in Israel, but he was with the Russian Olympic team at one time, and he coached in many areas. So then they made the connection. But they also realized that David Blatt was not a player in the NBA and hadn't coached in the NBA, and they were bringing LeBron James back. Okay, LeBron James was coming back. You know, that's going to be a rough introduction. Is it going to work? Well, the way to make it work was they said, well, we want somebody with NBA experience, and Tyronn Lue was available at the time. And so they went to him and paid him more than any other assistant coach in the NBA was getting to make him available and come to the Cavaliers and sit right at the side of David Blatt. If you go back a year ago, remember in a critical game against the Chicago Bulls, David Blatt lost count of how many timeouts the Cavs had, and they didn't have any, and he ran towards the floor to call a timeout. It's the game LeBron hit the last second shot to tie the series up against the Bulls at 2-2 in Chicago. And Ty Lue grabbed David Blatt physically to pull him back, because if the official had designated the timeout, the Cavs would have been hit with a technical and lost the ball and lost the game. So it was important to have Ty Lue always around. So if they were going to make a change, it was definitely going to be Ty Lue. And I really believe that if there wasn't a change and David Blatt rode this thing out, and I don't know how it would have ended, maybe it would have ended the same way with the championship, Ty Lue would have received offers from other teams in the NBA to come and become a head coach.
It certainly paid off.
Look at that stature.
J.R. Smith, inspiring the next generation.
Hey, everybody's got their shirt off.
Yeah.
Got the game shorts on, shirts off, dance moves, check.
There you go. Boy, J.R. Smith has really taken Cleveland, you know, and appreciates it a great deal for the opportunity that they gave him.
I love his daughter on Father's Day. When his young daughter was asked, what do you think about your dad or something like that? And she said, well, I'm just so glad what do you say? I'm just so glad he
wasn't kicked off the team.
Kicked off the team, you know, and when he was told about that at a news conference, he just laughed. I mean, he thought that was really cute and very funny, as we all did.
And he's talked about in the moments since how much family means to him. I think that, you know, other than seeing LeBron get upset, what J.R. Smith had to say about what this meant to him on Father's Day, talking to his dad about what it meant to have his family behind him, believing in him, supporting him. It was pretty cool. It kind of showed you what these championships mean to these athletes. It's not just about the money and the cars and the houses, as he talked about. While that stuff's nice, that these are the moments that they play for.
I'll tell you the other thing that J.R. Smith plays for. He plays to get to summer so he can play golf. He plays golf around the clock. As a matter of fact, he was living on, you know, towards the west side, and this was last year anyway. He enjoyed the golf courses out there so much that he joined 2 country clubs, not one.
That's funny. Wow. That's when you really love golf.
That's when you really love golf, and that's when you obviously have a pretty good chunk of money that you can put down and, you know, put down for a membership.
Oh, wow. Not bad at all. Mike O'Mara belongs to about 7 or 8 country clubs, I believe. But
yacht clubs, I believe.
Yacht clubs.
Yeah, yacht clubs. Yeah,
he's all over the place, but he's working today, unfortunately for him. Hey, Mike, what's happening from your vantage point?
No, actually, I am happy to be right here in the middle of all this madness and love and fan craziness, because this is where it's all happening. I mean, in our lifetime, this is probably it. I mean, I'd love to see him do it again next year, but I'll take this one. And right now we've got this kind of weird little lull in the action, because the convertibles are about to come around, and a lot of these people can't even see them because some of the other floats were up high. The people that have the best view are, of course, right on the street, and the people that you see, you know, it goes 100 back, have no clue to see anything other than the people who are raised up, and then they sort of get a cue from everybody that it's somebody famous. When Jim Brown came by, oh my gosh, the place went nuts, because everybody realizes the impact that man had on Cleveland sports, and the reverence they showed that guy was great. And now there's this sort of pregnant pause. Okay, where are the guys? Where is the team? And we can see them because we're up on top of our van. We know they're right around the corner back on East 9th, but that's still, I got to believe the way this thing is moving, another 10 minutes away. We thought they'd be here by now. No, not happening. But there is progress being made, and everybody is behaving themselves. They're being patient. They're, of course, wishing they had more SPF on probably and brought more water. But in the meantime, this is a wonderful, wonderful celebration. And by the way, for the viewers that have just started joining us, I got to show you the free stamp over on our left. These people have been up there all day long. I mean, it's dangerous, it's crazy, and the one kid lying down in the middle of the stamp there, he's been falling asleep, waking back up when something happens, and then going back, waiting for LeBron to show up. So, I mean, it's just overwhelming. So anyway, that's the situation here. We're just basking in the sunshine and the sort of communal experience of this is Cleveland Cavaliers, and this is a celebration we knew we were going to get. And nobody's going anywhere. I'm not even sure what's going to happen after they come by here because you can't go down to Mall B, it's already jammed. So I'm not sure where all these people are going to go, but they're, I think, just going to savor the moment. So that's really what's happening here next to City Hall. Back to you guys.
Hey, Mike, you touched on this, but let me ask you, since we have you here, any sense at all that folks are getting impatient or anything like that?
No, we are in such a holding pattern here, we don't get that sense. But we've now got one more truck finally turning a corner, so we're, I guess, glacially making progress here. I know they're way behind schedule, but this crowd's going, so what? We've waited for how many hours now? We'll be here until it is over. So that's the scene here.
That's true. One could argue we waited for 52 years. So what's a little while longer? Thank you very much, Michael.
That overlap of the crowd, thanks, Mike, that overlap of the crowd and, whether or not they'll be able to get down here to see the stage program and what's going to happen up on the stage, that's going to be very interesting. Mike brings up a really good point.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of space, quite honestly, available on
I don't think so.
Even if you got down here, I mean, you're wading through a pretty thick group of fans to try to get to anywhere where you can see this from Mall B, because people have been just coming here really since last night. We've seen the crowd swell just in the last couple hours. Also, even the sides here where we are, and again, we're on a balcony here at the downtown, at the Hilton Cleveland Downtown Hotel, looking over. We're in the 5th floor looking down. Even the sides here have filled up also, and we look at Mall A, which is on the other side of the stage, and that's completely jammed.
Yeah, that's too. That is packed, and that was not as filled, at that earlier in the day, but that is packed too. So you can only imagine that some people are going to make their way down. They obviously have anyway, over to Mall A, and they're going to fill up even more here so that they can view the program that they're going to have up on the stage. We keep talking about they're behind schedule and everything. I think these things, I don't think you can have a schedule on something like this.
Yeah, the schedule is kind of something they throw out there and they say, this is what we're thinking about right now. This is probably really not going to happen. Because, again, this was scheduled to begin at 11 o'clock this morning, the parade. It didn't begin until 11:45. We're talking about the parade making its way through downtown. There are still a number of vehicles that have to turn onto East 6th before they actually go to inside Public Hall for a little bit. The team and other people going inside Public Hall to reconnoiter, as they say, for a little while before coming out to stage. And this program was scheduled to begin at 1:30. We're now at 2:17. It has gotten warmer out here. It was 74 degrees. Wow, about an hour ago. Now 82. And we're in the shade. And these folks are right in the middle of the heat. The sun is beaming on them, so we hope they're taking advantage of the water that's being sold here and perhaps some of the fire hoses that have been used to cool off this crowd.
Yeah, this group, that we're looking over now, Russ, in Mall B, they obviously picked out their spot early in the day and said, you know what, the strategy is let's get down to Mall B and we'll be ready to go. They will be ready for some activity, I think, once the Cavaliers get here. But again, look at that.
Yeah.
That's the parade route, and that little strip there in the middle, that's the actual little, nerve that they're trying to get through as they're trying to wind their way through the streets of Cleveland to get there. And then you can see the turn here. to make the turn and come up more towards us.
I'd be curious to know what the hot dog vendors are getting today. the guys and gals on the street who normally, sell you a sausage for $2.
Yeah.
I mean, today I bet they're getting $15, $20 for a dog, and people are happy to pay it.
Yeah, they're getting Quicken Loans prices. Quicken Loans Arena prices
and taking out loans.
Yeah, taking out loans.
Perhaps to get those dogs. As we continue to look at the parade. Here.
You know who was going to be here, too, I believe, and I read this the other day, that Ernest Biner was going to be here at the parade today, the member of the Browns. It reminds me, I just saw a Browns jersey, number 44, which was the number that Ernest wore here. There's J.R. Smith again in his game shorts without shirt. And it looks like he's probably going to sign some autographs or something.
Yeah,
Someone just flipped something up
I think
to him in the crowd. Yeah, he's going to sign it. And while he does that, we'll take a timeout here as we continue to wait for the Cavaliers to get down into Mall B and to really celebrate this championship in front of a much anticipative crowd of Cleveland Cavaliers fans who have waited a long time here today. We'll be right back. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Congratulations, Cleveland, on a day 52 years in the making. Goodyear, Akron born. And I'll tell you what, the blimp has really set the stage and given you pictures of what's going on down below. As I'm Jim Donovan with Russ Mitchell, Sarah Shookman, and our Channel 3 crews all around the city of Cleveland. And a look up top at the beautiful city today, the championship city. Mall B, you can see just clogged in the middle there. And Mall A, and probably soon Mall C.
And Mall D if we had a Mall D.
Yeah, we'll get one. I'll tell you what, we'll get one.
And you were so right. Those pictures are fantastic. Earlier, Jimmy, you were talking about Ernest Biner.
Yeah.
And perhaps he would be here. We now know that he is on Ty Lue's float, which is great.
That might have been him, Russ, that I saw in the number 44 jersey of the Browns, the jersey that Ernest Biner wore. Biner, of course, in an amazing interview in the movie Believe Land, looked into the camera teary-eyed and apologized to Cleveland fans, because at that time now, when Believe Land was made, we were still waiting for the championship. Little did we know we'd only have to wait, maybe another month and a half. But Biner apologized and saying, I'm really sorry, I really fouled things up. The amazing part of that is that to every Browns fan and every Northeast Ohio sports fan, Ernest Biner is a hero. Not a GOAT, not even close. Right. Because though he got stripped of the football at the 2-yard line that day at Mile High Stadium, what he had done before that was amazing. He had an incredible game that day to get the Browns into a position to be competitive in that game and still in the fight with John Elway and the Denver Broncos. And there's Kyrie Irving, who has had a great time in the parade today. But Ernest Biner really has always loved Cleveland. Now remember, he left Cleveland, traded to Washington, and won a Super Bowl there and was a great player for the Redskins, winning that Super Bowl. But then he came back to the Browns again. He returned to Cleveland and then moved with them, heartbroken for a second time when the Browns left and went to Baltimore. He was heartbroken leaving after he fumbled, and he thought it was better that he get out of here because of the memory of it. And it really bothered him, Russ, through his life. He wrote a book about it and about his career. And the title of the book is Everybody Fumbles, and he's right.
Nice.
So he's had a lot of time to try and put that behind him. Now, he has come out and said, watching the Cavaliers win the championship, he feels better that the fact that Cleveland has finally gotten a championship, he feels that the one that he, quote, fumbled away. Right. Now, I don't think that, and I know a lot of you don't think that.
Sure. And you're right. Seeing him in Believe Land was just, it brought tears to my eyes. Just watching him, how sincere he was and how he felt about it. But as you said, nobody looks at him in that way.
Oh, no.
But what he has had to live with in his head, this must be an incredible burden that we hope was lifted, as you said, with this victory in some sort.
He was like a 10th round draft choice. That was when the NFL had a lot of rounds, more rounds than 7. He was a 10th round draft choice out of East Carolina. Okay, so he had to come and make the team for his first couple of years. He had to do it by running down on kickoffs. But when they put that backfield together of Mack and Biner, and they both rushed for over 1,000 yards in the same season in the 1 year, Ernest Biner was he was the little engine that could.
Yeah.
He really is. And he's just a wonderful guy. Now, he was like an honorary coach during the Browns offseason. Hugh Jackson brought him in. Ernest has coached around the NFL. He's coached the running back position at various stops. It would be wonderful, and I'll nudge the Browns on this, it would be wonderful to bring him back inside that stadium right there at First Energy Stadium and put him on the Browns sidelines, because I've always felt that, you know how LeBron James really knows what's going on in Northeast Ohio?
Right.
He knows his audience, he knows his fans, he knows, and he promised them a championship and delivered. I have felt that through the years since the Browns have come back in 1999, not enough of the Browns players, not enough of their coaches, not even at times their front offices, have known enough about the passion and the history of the Cleveland Browns. Now, you would get no bigger heart and passion than Ernest Biner. So maybe Hugh Jackson is going to, keep him along. But it was wonderful to see him back there, and he just had an instantaneous connection with these young players. And, of course, the Browns have many of them now coming into this year. So it's great that he's here today. And I know that along the parade route, he's probably getting saluted for everything that he did here.
And that's got to make him feel so good.
He's a great guy, Russ.
It's been great for me to be in town and meet these guys that I grew up. I didn't grow up in Cleveland. I grew up in St. Louis, but I knew all these guys. I knew Greg Pruitt. Of course, I knew Bernie Kosar.
Sure.
And I remember being here not very long. A guy comes up to me in the street. He just said, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Greg Pruitt. I almost fell down. I remember I'd been here not very long at all. I was having dinner with our then general manager, Brooks Viktorski, and our new general manager, Mickey Burns, and saying how much I admired Bernie Kosar.
Yeah.
Brooke gets up, comes back with Bernie Kosar to the table. It is just fantastic to meet these people and how down to earth they are, how, as you said, they still have this passion for Cleveland and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, they really do. And that's the, naturally the Cavs are feeling that with the crowds that they have here right now and have had since they've become a Cav. I mean, they're packed every night. It's a fabulous home court advantage for them. Russ, there was no doubt in my mind and no doubt in their minds that when the series was 3-2 and they were playing Game 6 here in Cleveland, a week ago tomorrow night, that there was no doubt that they were going to win that game because they just were not going to have their season end like it did last year. They were not going to have it end this year in Game 6 at the Q because they're very tough to beat, and the crowd was as loud. Well, you were there. It was as loud as we can ever remember it. I didn't think the Warriors had a shot in that game, and they didn't, as the Cavs really got out in front of them. But, the connection that LeBron has, that's very real, and that really works. That's why I think he was so much more emotional winning this championship on Sunday night than perhaps the two that he won, in Miami.
We talked about this earlier. Of course, this championship, as you said, it must mean much more to him than the championships he won in Miami. And this is a movie. This is a cinematic event. Hometown hero comes in, does well, goes away, becomes the GOAT for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Comes back, brings the city a championship. And you go back to guarantees and promises, and I was thinking, Jimmy, I know you're a student of this history as well, 1968 when Joe Namath guaranteed a victory for the New York Jets. Now, that was a guarantee. I saw that a little different than a promise. A nuance there, but what LeBron did, I think, has more of a lasting effect in the way that this is something that took some time, and he promised it was going to happen eventually.
Right.
It wasn't braggadocious.
Right. Absolutely.
It was not of arrogance or anything like that. He said, hey, I came back here, I promise we'll win a championship, as opposed to Joe Namath saying, I guarantee we're going to win tomorrow.
And LeBron's letter was beautifully written and illustrated. I believe Joe Namath, as I remember it that day, he did it on a lounge chair, poolside. Down in Miami.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, I guarantee it. We're going to win the game, yeah.
Exactly.
So you're right. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. I mean, LeBron, it's amazing what he did. I think, I wonder if in a very truthful moment, if this is quicker than he thought it might happen.
I wonder.
Yeah, because they were very, remember now, they weren't even a playoff team.
That's right.
When he decided to come back.
We were still getting the number 1 picks in
That's
the
right.
lottery when
that's
he
right.
came here.
Yeah, we had just selected Andrew Wiggins.
Right.
And then he became a piece of the Kevin Love deal that brought Kevin Love here. But LeBron said, hey, listen, this isn't going to happen overnight now. Kyrie's a good player, but, we're going to have to learn a little bit. But it almost happened last year, and then it did happen this year. A lot of people think that he's got 5 good years still remaining because he keeps himself in such great shape.
Yeah.
And I say this lovingly. People around sport call him a freak of nature. He's just perfectly, he's just the perfect athlete. The way he's constructed and the way he takes care of his body, and then just the natural explosion and the desire to win. So a lot of people think, this train could go for a while.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
The big news today, one of the big news stories today, LeBron has announced he is going to stay in Cleveland next year.
To defend.
To defend. Not exactly a bombshell. We all suspected that, but there were also these rumors out there.
Timofey Mozgov. There he is, yeah.
All these rumors out there that perhaps he would go somewhere else, Boston, L.A., whatever. We now know that he's staying here. Jimmy, what do you think? Will he keep signing these one-year deals, or will he sign like a long-term deal?
No, I think this is the way now of the NBA, Russ, that a lot of these guys do these one-year deals, and the reason they do it is because the salary cap in the NBA has become so big and so generous that the line constantly moves higher and higher every year. And so when it does go higher and higher, your slice of the pie becomes bigger and bigger. So, that's why they do it now. That's why they sign these one and done deals and they opt out, but they can come back in as they see the salary cap, which will go up again this year.
Sure.
So I think that's why they do it. That's just the new mode of doing it. Back not too long ago, you would sign a 5 or a 10-year deal.
Sure.
And that's not so now. And you can understand why. There's a clock ticking on everyone's career, especially at that level, and you want to be able to make the maximum, as they say in the NBA. You want to sign a max deal. And the Cavaliers, and that's the greatness of Dan Gilbert, is that he's not afraid to go into the luxury tax, which they definitely do, well over $100 million in salary on the payroll. They definitely do not fear that, and they go after it. And the only way they do it is by maximizing that elite talent.
And if you're LeBron James and you can do it,
and there he is.
Why not? There he is. Why not? Wait out, and if they're paying more money every year, hey, and you can do it, it totally makes sense. As you said, Jimmy, that's a fascinating analysis there, that the game certainly has changed.
Yeah, it really
in
has.
so many ways. You are watching Channel 3 continuous coverage of the Cavs Victory Parade as it continues to make its way through Cleveland. We are awaiting the start of a big ceremony here at Mall B. It was scheduled to begin an hour ago. Things running a little late. Jimmy, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say, I think Savannah was just motioning to the crowd that they're going to have to move away from the car. I don't think that. I think his car is absolutely swamped. You see all the police trying to get the people to move away from his car, and I saw Savannah kind of motioning, why don't we just move it away just a little bit so we can get, from point A to point B.
And as much as they're enjoying the moment right now, as we said, it's hot out here. And in those cars, you're in a convertible, it's got to be hot as well. They've been in that car for, about almost 3 hours now. So certainly understand that. I can't understand why anybody would surround LeBron James's car. It's a mystery to me. We'll get our best people working on that to see what's going on. Our coverage continues after a break.